And homeowners, renters, motorcycle and boat insurance.
Huh. That's nice. What happens when you catch a fish?
Oh!
Geico. More than just car insurance. See how much you could save at geico.com.
I'm okay!
It's just not the same with back pain. Doan's relieves back pain.
Wow!
Doan's. We've had your back's back since way back. Now available in a cream.
To my home, only place to feel alone. I need the fire in the soil. Now I'm gonna tell my mama that I'm a traveler. I'm gonna follow the sun. Now I'm gonna tell my mama that I'm a traveler. I'm gonna follow the sun.
Transitions. Light under control.
Overwhelming air fresheners can send you running. So
Could
try
you
Febreze
not?
One with no aerosols and no heavy perfumes, so you can spray and stay. Febreze One.
Seriously, dude. Stop.
I love my grandma.
As you grow older, your brain naturally begins to change, which may cause trouble with recall.
Learning from him is great when I can keep up.
Thankfully, Prevagen helps your brain and improves memory.
Dad's got all the answers.
Prevagen is now the #1 selling brain health supplement in drugstores nationwide.
She outsmarts me every single time. Checkmate. You want to play again?
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
For those that like big trucks, big stakes, big tires, big trees, big trips, and making a big splash. For all the big dogs and big shots from Big Bear to Big Sur, who play big at the tables and love the biggest slot machines, Shumash Casino Resort offers our biggest prize yet. A Fleetwood Southwind Class A motorhome, being valued at over $150,000, makes it big. Being over 36 feet long makes it the biggest. Play with your Club Indulge card through October 28th, and you could win it. The Big Haul Giveaway, only at Shumash Casino Resort.
Does this map show the Peninsula Trail?
You won't find that on a map. I'll take you there. Take this left. If you listen real hard, you can hear the whales. Hear that?
Our Subaru Outback lets us see the world, sometimes in ways we never imagined.
Right now, get 0% APR financing on the 2018 Subaru Outback.
Stream the premiere episode on demand.
Rudy Giuliani tells NBC News tonight that Trump's legal team plans to respond within days, possibly by Monday or Tuesday, to Robert Mueller's latest interview offer. Kelly O'Donnell reports that Giuliani says the legal team's message to Robert Mueller is, quote, "You can question him about collusion and not post-presidency." Giuliani also says if Mueller issued a subpoena, Trump's lawyers could win the fight to protect him from having to testify about matters related to his time in office, like Jim Comey's firing. Giuliani adds the legal team remains opposed to an interview, but says this about Trump. He wants to be clear. He wants to clear himself because he didn't do anything. Tonight, Politico reports Giuliani says the legal team will make a decision within a week to 10 days. The president isn't the only Mueller wants to speak with. NBC News also reporting he's requested an interview with Emin. Let's see if I can do this. I haven't studied Russian. Aglarov, the Russian pop star who helped set up the June 2016 Trump Tower meeting with Donald Trump Jr. and several Russians, including an attorney linked to the Kremlin. In testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee, Donald Trump Jr. said he didn't recall speaking to the Russian pop star about that meeting, but in an interview with Vice News earlier this year, Aglarov, "See, I did it," confirmed their conversation.
I said, listen, there's some people that want to meet you. They obviously want something that could potentially help them resolve things that you could be interested in, or maybe not. If you can spare 5 minutes of your time, I'd be grateful. If not, no problem. And obviously, Don Jr., big Don Jr. said, of course, I'll not do it if you're asking me. I set that meeting up. I know what that meeting was about. It was about nothing.
For all the Russian speakers on Twitter, I can say Natalia Veselnitskaya, Jeremy Bash taught me. Also tonight, one of Mueller's grand juries will get to hear testimony from a former aide to longtime Trump political advisor Roger Stone. A federal judge tossed out a challenge from Andrew Miller, who tried to block subpoenas from the special counsel. Miller worked with Stone during the 2016 presidential campaign. Two other known Stone associates have also been called to testify. Still with us, Jeremy Bash, my Russian tutor, Carol Leonnig, Matt Apuzzo, and Phil Rucker. Jeremy, talk about the significance of these Russians now being subpoenaed by Robert Mueller. What is he trying to do? What is he trying to prove? And what will he do next, in your opinion?
Well, the Agalarov family, the father-son combination, have had long-standing ties to the Trump organization. They were actually the main business contacts of Michael Cohen and Felix Sater and the Trump organization when they attempted to build the Trump Tower in Moscow during the presidential election of 2016. It actually began to really take shape in late 2015 and early 2016. And they were, of course, the ones that went back to the Trump family and said, the Russian government is supporting your campaign. We'd like to send a Russian government delegation to Trump Tower to talk to you about the way we're supporting the campaign in June 2016. And so they're really integral to the ties between the Trump family, the Trump organization, and the Russian government. In fact, they were the go-between. Just because you are a cheesy pop star doesn't mean that you're also not a cutout for Russian intelligence.
And Matt Apuzzo, this Trump Tower meeting has long been a flashpoint in the questions about obstruction, largely because of what both your papers reported about the cover story, the lie that was told about what that meeting was about. It wasn't about Russian adoptions. They were promised dirt on Hillary Clinton. It now seems to be a flashpoint for questions about a conspiracy to collude or coordinate with an American adversary.
Yeah, it's where the two storylines come together. It's the question of, was there collusion? And, you know, as Jeremy said, hey, this is part of the Russian government's effort to help Donald Trump get elected, and the Trump campaign response was, I love it. So there's that, and then there's the question of, well, when reporters started to ask questions about this, were you straight with them, and were you trying to conceal the truth from the American public, and in tamping down reporters' questions, were you kind of also trying to throw off investigators who also might be interested in this investigation? So it's where the two come together.
I loved Rudy Giuliani's explanation of who was in this meeting this week, because he hit his head the way I hit my head, and I find everyone today. I think we have that. Let's watch. Do we have that? Okay.
Lonnie Davis has added that there was a meeting 2 days before.
Yo, straight into your right.
Took place with Donald Jr., Jared, Manafort, and two others, Gates, and one more person.
And that's a real meeting. You're saying
that's a real meeting on another provable subject in which he would not participate.
As your colleague said, you lose the thread on where Rudy's going with this, but it is an interesting list of names that he trots out. Rick Gates, Donald Trump Jr., Jared, Paul Manafort. Gates is a cooperating witness in the Mueller probe. Manafort is on trial this week. What do you think they're telegraphing in naming who was in that meeting? Do you think there's some concern that the other participants may be in trouble?
There is definitely concern about Donald Trump Jr. And I was talking to a Trump advisor yesterday who said the president is increasingly worried about his son's exposure in all of this as Mueller focuses in on that Trump Tower meeting, not because he thinks he did anything knowingly wrong, but because he understands how easy it would be to have violated the law.
To stumble into collusion?
Well, to stumble into collusion.
I've worked on a lot of campaigns. A lot of us worry about a lot of things like bad oppo or, I don't know, working too much, but lying to the New York Times. We do not worry about stumbling into collusion. That is not a normal thing to worry about on campaigns.
Well, he knows his son, and he's worried that his son could have somehow done something illegal unintentionally, and that there could be dire consequences, and it has him nervous and agitated.
Clearly agitated. Carol Leonnig, the story from Trump allies has for many months gone like this. The president is too incompetent to have colluded with Russia. I think they've even said this on the record and on TV. They couldn't collude with headquarters in the plane, but obstruction, maybe. I mean, it was a mom and pop operation. They now seem equally agitated, Phil Rucker's word, and concerned about the potential that something could look like conspiracy to collude with an American adversary.
Well, right. We're getting down to
brass tacks. The time is coming that we're going to hear some information about whether or not there were contacts with the Trump campaign that the Trump campaign knew about. The subject line of the email, part of the Russian effort to help you, Don Jr., and your dad's campaign. Did they know about this? Did they willingly accept any help? We know about a zillion different contacts now between the Trump campaign, from the junior to the most senior, and Russian nationals or Russian operatives. That it's sort of this worry throughout all of this period, what's going to come out. And I would like to recommend that everybody remember that Michael Flynn played a key role in all this. He cooperated early on in this probe. We haven't heard anything from Michael Flynn, but he gave information to Bob Mueller, and we don't know what that is. But I'll remind you again that in December, right before the inauguration, Michael Flynn is the person calling Sergei Kislyak, and it's been reported that they were talking about sanctions. Why? Why is that? And will that come to be important later on about the Russian effort that Don Jr. was willing to bring in home, the Russian effort to help your dad?
Jeremy Bash, Caroline chooses her words carefully. She's telling us to remember Mike Flynn. Where do you think Mike Flynn fits into all the revelations in the last couple weeks from the Washington Post and the New York Times reporting on this Russia story, and from Rudy's own comments there about this Trump Tower meeting? He called it a real meeting. He listed the participants. Do you think they know that someone like Mike Flynn or Rick Gates has told the special counsel something that they're really worried about?
I think Carol is definitely onto something. It's a little bit hard to know exactly what evidence Mike Flynn has about that discussion, but clearly he got instructions. He got instructions from his ultimate boss that, hey, when the Russians come collecting on their return on their investment, we have to pay up. It's going to be time for us to pay back the favor, and that's exactly what happened. I just want to make clear that there's no question in anybody's mind whether or not the Trump campaign knew that the Russian government was attacking our election process. That was the whole predicate of the meeting. It was set up that way in the email. It had already been previewed to them by Papadopoulos. There were other people who came to the Trump campaign and said this is happening, and it was overtly discussed in the meeting. Nobody kicked him out of the office. No one called the FBI. No one said, hey, wait a second, we're not doing that. This is illegal, inappropriate. They welcomed it. Now, there's some mythology out there that because they didn't start colluding right there at the table and it wasn't a back and forth, that somehow that's not conspiracy or collusion. But, of course, 165 times Donald Trump referenced the WikiLeaks and the hacked emails in the last month of the campaign. He clearly made it a central aspect of his final closing argument in the 2016 campaign.
He sure did, and we know from the Times reporting that the special counsel is looking at all of his public statements and tweets. Jeremy Bash, Carol Lennick, Phil Rucker, Matt Apuzzo, thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight. Coming up, the latest on the Paul Manafort case, including testimony from a witness who knows an awful lot about Manafort's money. The 11th hour, back after this.
I thought I married an Italian. My lineage was the Vecchios and Zuccolis. Through ancestry to the DNA, I found out that I was only 16% Italian. It was 34% Eastern European. So I went on to Ancestry. Soon learned that one of our ancestors we thought was Italian was Eastern European. This is my ancestor I didn't know about. He looks a little bit like me, yes.
Ancestry has many paths to discovering your story. Get started for free at Ancestry.com.
Every time the mailman comes, he thinks it's his bark box.
Get $40 worth of toys, treats, and shoes for as low as $21 a month. Subscribe today and save at BarkBox.com.
The day after chemo might mean a trip back to the doctor's office, just for a shot. But why go back there when you can stay home? With Neulasta Onpro, strong chemo can put you at risk of serious infection. In a key study, Neulasta reduced the risk of infection from 17% to 1%, a 94% decrease. Neulasta Onpro is designed to deliver Neulasta the day after chemo and is used by most patients today.
Neulasta is for certain cancer patients receiving strong chemotherapy. Do not take Neulasta if you're allergic to it, or Neupogen, filgrastim. An incomplete dose could increase infection risk. Ruptured spleen, sometimes fatal, as well as serious lung problems, allergic reactions, kidney injuries, and capillary leak syndrome have occurred. Report abdominal or shoulder tip pain, trouble breathing, or allergic reactions to your doctor right away. In patients with sickle cell disorders, serious, sometimes fatal crises can occur. The most common side effect is bone and muscle ache.
If If you'd rather be home, ask your doctor about Neulasta Onpro. Pay no more than $25 per dose with copay card.
We do whatever it takes to fight cancer. These are the specialists we're proud to call our own. Experts from all over the world, working closely together to deliver truly personalized cancer care. Expert medicine works here. Learn more at cancercenter.com.
With the new Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, I get unlimited 1.5% cash back. It's so simple, I don't even have to think about it. So I think about mouthfeel.
I don't think about the Ink card. I think about nitrogen ice cream in supermarkets all over the world.
I think about the details. Fine. I obsess over the details.
Think about every part of your business except the one part that works without a thought, your Ink card. Introducing Chase Ink Business Unlimited with unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase. Chase for business. Make more of what's...
America's best sales event is on at Team Nissan. Save big on our award-winning lineup, like a brand new Nissan Altima.
Oh, espectacular.
Just $17,988, or save up to $12,000 off a Titan truck, or get 0% financing up to 72 months. Rush to Team Nissan, your #1 volume dealer in the Tri-County, for America's best now in the Oxnard Auto Center or on the web at teamnissandirect.com.
Everybody's got a smartphone, but the challenge is they don't have access to broadband at home. The Spectrum Digital Education Fund has made a huge difference for us. We focus on digital literacy. Giving people access to technology truly makes a difference in their ability to navigate their lives. Spectrum is investing in the community, both locally and nationally, and that's very important to us.
The special counsel team got to the core of its case against former Trump campaign chair Paul Manafort today. Prosecutors have been laying out the millions upon millions of dollars in foreign funds that Manafort spent on his lavish lifestyle. But late today, they started to zero in on how Manafort hid his accounts overseas and how he allegedly defrauded the government. Manafort's former bookkeeper told the court he had trouble paying his bills while working for the Trump campaign for free. And for the first time, the prosecution showed that Manafort submitted false financial statements to obtain a home loan. With us for more, Barbara McQuaid, former U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan. She was in the courtroom for today's proceedings. Barbara, what stood out for you? And give us the same note that you gave us privately about what we're not paying enough attention to.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I think is concerns me a little bit is that the judge, in an effort to move things along quickly, which most people do appreciate, and out of concern that some of the evidence of Paul Manafort's lavish lifestyle might cause resentment among the jury, is limiting the amount of evidence that the prosecution is being allowed to present in court. And it concerns me that the jury may have difficulty understanding the significance of some of the things that are coming in. There's a lot of documents here. Today we had the bookkeeper testifying about a lot of documents, and the judge does not allow the prosecution to publish the documents to the jury so that they can see it in real time. He says they can read those things later. And same thing with photographs of some of the lavish luxury items that Paul Manafort bought. Things like luxury cars and custom suits and real estate and things like that. And the problem is that if this rulings result in an acquittal, the government has no recourse. The government does not get to appeal an acquittal because of the double jeopardy clause in the Constitution. So that's one thing that I see underlying the case. But nonetheless, they're persisting, and the evidence is coming in and is very strong to demonstrate the tax counts as well as the bank fraud.
One thing I've heard you say since the trial was underway, and really at the time that the indictments were unsealed, is that this is a paper case, that so much damning evidence was included in what we already have seen. What is the importance of the bookkeeper's testimony to understanding the alleged corruption with which Manafort went about hiding money and violating these laws?
Yeah, the bookkeeper's testimony, may have been a little bit tedious. It lasted for a couple of hours. It was about a lot of sort of dry financial transactions, but it was really important. One, she was able to tie income from Paul Manafort to these shell companies that he had offshore with these bank accounts in Cyprus. Really important part of the case. She talked about the forgiveness of a loan for $1.5 million that should be treated as income. I think we're going to learn later that's undeclared income. She also talked about some how in 2016 and 2017, Paul Manafort became essentially broke after living this incredibly lavish lifestyle and having millions and millions of dollars. Suddenly, he's broke because his business in Ukraine dried up, which provides motivation for the bank frauds. And she also testified about some fraudulent documents that were used to obtain loans during this time when he was desperate for cash. One piece of it that's not going to come out in this case, but that is really intriguing and could come out in the later trial in the fall, is it's during this time that Paul Manafort is broke and desperate for cash that he goes to work for the Trump campaign for free. And so that raises, I think, some interesting questions about what his motive might have been there.
It sure does. Barbara McQuaid, we're so lucky to have you navigating for the non-lawyers among us. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Coming up, the president's advisor and daughter finally speaks up about some of the more controversial issues dividing the country. That's when the 11th hour continues.
I'm Ray, and I quit smoking with Chantix. In the movies, a lot of times I tend to play the tough guy. But I wasn't tough enough to quit on my own. Not until I tried Chantix.
Chantix, along with support, helps you quit smoking.
It reduced my urge to smoke to the point that I could stop.
When you try to quit smoking, with or without Chantix, you may have nicotine withdrawal symptoms. Some people had changes in behavior or thinking, aggression, hostility, agitation, depressed mood, or suicidal thoughts or actions with Chantix. Serious side effects may include seizures, new or worse harder blood vessel problems, sleepwalking, or allergic and skin reactions, which can be life-threatening. Stop Chantix and get help right away if you have any of these. Tell your healthcare provider if you've had depression or other mental health problems. Decrease alcohol use while taking Chantix. Use caution when driving or operating machinery. The most common side effect is nausea.
My favorite role so far? Being a non-smoker. No question about it.
Talk to your doctor about Chantix.
Having my mom around to help with my daughter means the world to me, so I got her a smartphone. Amanda, I'm out front, honey. It's the Jitterbug Smart from Great Call. It's got one of the biggest, brightest screens, and with the built-in 5-star app, I know she can always get help.
One touch and you'll be immediately connected to a highly trained agent who can confirm your location, assess the situation, and get you the help you need.
Service starts as low as $17.48 a month. Available at Best Buy or Rite Aid.
We knew Angie's List had reviews of home pros.
But so do lots of websites.
I didn't want to pay.
Then I found out it's free. Wait, it's free?
Free to check ratings, read reviews.
And they'll even match your project with a few qualified pros for the job. Go to angieslist.com today.
Such a good night today. Such a good night today. Such a good night today.
A bad day on the road still beats a good one off it. Progressive helps keep you out there.
Running a business means I can't waste time, especially when I'm hiring. I used to pore over resumes, but now I post my jobs on Indeed. Their screener questions help me get to my shortlist, people with the qualifications I need, like 5 years experience. All saving me time that I get to put back into running my business. Hiring's better when you've got your shortlist. Start your first job posting with free premium placement on Indeed.
Grubhub is a delivery app that lets you order from all your favorite local restaurants. And yes, it's that easy. Grubhub, restaurants you love, delivered.
We haven't heard a lot lately from Ivanka Trump, first daughter and assistant to the president, but that changed today. During an interview with Axios, she was asked about the administration's zero-tolerance immigration policy.
That was a low point for me as well. I feel very strongly about that, and I am very vehemently against family separation and the separation of parents and children.
Really? Well, until today, Ivanka had been publicly silent as the government took more than 2,500 children away from their migrant mothers and fathers. The president ended the separations in June, reportedly after some pressure from his daughter and others. But tonight, hundreds of those families are still torn apart. With us for more, Emily Jane Fox, senior reporter for Vanity Fair. Her recent book is Born Trump, Inside America's First Family. And in D.C. tonight, Annie Carney, White House reporter for Politico. I'm sorry, her low point was what? I mean, the low point for the children, the babies, the infants in baby jails, was being yanked out of their mothers' and fathers' arms. But the low point for Ivanka Trump was what, reading about it?
Was the press scrutiny that she around being silent around this thing. That struck me.
Actually, maybe it was this picture. Maybe the low point was the scrutiny she got on Twitter for posting this picture.
Well, why
is that the low point?
Why else talk about it in the past tense? This is something that is still going on. There are hundreds of children who are still separated from their families. And so to speak about the low point having already happened when this is still ongoing just signals that perhaps what was the low point was when she was getting hammered and hammered for not speaking up and not saying a single thing. And even when she did speak up today, this is 6 weeks later, all she said was exactly what her father has said, maybe not in as nice terms, but she was basically repeating his talking points and the talking points that the First Lady said at the time 6 weeks ago. And so it took her all of this time to say something, and what she said is exactly what her rest of her family members said 6 weeks ago.
Annie Carney, she actually did less than the rest of the people around Trump. Melania Trump went to the border and met with and visited with people who were trying to help some of these children. So this is an occasion where Ivanka Trump actually did a lot less. And I guess what doesn't add up is the low point for something she was a part of. She works there. She has the most senior rank in the White House. On the White House staff, there's nobody higher than an assistant to the president. So she is either a totally impotent, ineffectual assistant to the president who suffered a low point, I guess, by watching what her father did, that she had no ability to influence, or she feels bad but didn't quit. I mean, I just don't understand what she's trying to say.
It's the same problem with Ivanka and the family member serving as a senior official that has been plaguing her since day one that she joined the administration. You're right, either she's an ineffectual advisor who feels vehemently and has no power to influence her father, or she's doing PR and damage control for herself when she says now that she's vehemently opposed because, as you said, she didn't actually visit the southern border as Melania Trump did. Neither of those are particularly great options for her, and I don't see a third way to interpret this. And also, she made some other comments tonight that I think we're going to talk about later in the show, but she has the ability, not often used, to disagree with her father and know she won't get fired. That's something that other staffers don't enjoy. And so that we see that she has that leeway if she wants it. She just doesn't choose to use that a lot.
All right, well, you got ahead of me, and you did part of my job for me, which at 11:45 I appreciate. You're going to stay right where you are, and we're going to talk about those comments that you just referenced, her comments about the press. She says we're not the enemy of the people, even as the president and his press secretary take the war against the media to new lows. The 11th hour, back after this.
At Ace, kids are some of our favorite customers.
How far does this spray? Why would anybody want to take the ducks? How do you unglue?
There's nothing better than helping kids. That's why ACE supports Children's Miracle Network hospitals.
This Friday through Sunday only, donate $5 to your local Children's Miracle Network hospital at your neighborhood Ace and get the 5-gallon bucket plus 20% off almost anything that fits inside.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
CoQ10 is the #1 cardiologist-recommended supplement for people taking cholesterol-lowering statin drugs. Cunol, with 3 times better absorption than regular CoQ10, has the #1 cardiologist-recommended form of CoQ10. Cunol, the better CoQ10.
Paying too much for insurance you don't even understand? Well, Esurance makes it simple and affordable. In fact, drivers who switched from Geico to Esurance saved an average of $412. That's auto and home insurance for the modern world. Esurance, an Allstate company. Click or call. Paying too much for insurance that isn't the right fit? Well, Esurance makes finding the right coverage easy. In fact, drivers who switched from Geico to Esurance saved an average of $412. That's auto and home insurance for the modern world. Esurance, an Allstate company. Click or call.
Shopping for a home on Wayfair is so easy. They should make a jingle. Wayfair, you make home shopping easy.
Wait, that sounds familiar.
These new tools make my shopping a breeze. I can plan my room while I'm falling asleep.
How about Wayfair, you got just what I need?
No, it's not good.
That was pretty good.
Discover easier home shopping at Wayfair, where it's find and unwind.
Wayfair, you've got just what I need.
You wouldn't accept an incomplete job from anyone else. Why accept it from your allergy pills? Flonase Sensimist relieves all your worst symptoms, including nasal congestion, which most pills don't. And all from a gentle mist you can barely feel. Flonase Sensimist.
You get the fastest starting speeds with Spectrum Internet. And since you don't like to be held back, Spectrum has no data caps. So stream, binge, buy, and stay connected to what matters most to you. Anytime, anywhere, on any device. Spectrum Internet.
Countries around the world, and created a community. Now, you don't have to overpay for a nice watch. Instead, join the movement. Shop now at mvmt.com.
Don't gamble with your student loans. Refinance somewhere else and get rate guesstimates from companies who may sell your data. Refinance at credible.com and compare actual rates from top lenders. Visit credible.com before your next payment is due.
Refuse to call it fake news. Whatever happened to fair press? Whatever happened to honest reporting? They don't report it. They only make up stories. So here was the story by the fake news. The president was 15 minutes late. They can make anything bad because they are the fake, disgusting news.
That from the guy who, according to the Washington Post, has told more than 4,000 lies. That was President Trump, who spent much of tonight's rally in Pennsylvania taking shots at the media. Hours earlier, his daughter Ivanka had been asked about something else her father often says about the media, that we're the enemy of the people.
We have a number of our colleagues here on the press. Do you think that we're the enemy of the people?
Sorry?
Do you think the media is the enemy of the people?
No, I do not. I've certainly received my fair share of reporting on me personally that I know not to be fully accurate. So I've, I have some sensitivity around why people have concerns and gripe, especially when they're sort of feel targeted. But no, I do not feel that the media is the enemy of the people.
That response prompted her father to take to Twitter this afternoon with a clarification of his daughter's comments. He wrote, "They asked my daughter Ivanka whether or not the media is the enemy of the people. She correctly said no, it is the fake news, which is a large percentage of the media, that is the enemy of the people." The question also came up during this afternoon's White House briefing. Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders was asked repeatedly whether she believes the media is the enemy of the people. Sanders told reporters she is there, quote, to speak on behalf of the president, and that, quote, he's made his comments clear. Emily Jane Fox and Annie Carney are back with me. So I'm trying to just keep straight whose enemy we are. And so Ivanka does not think we're the enemy of the people, but Sarah seems to think that is an accurate description of a free press. Why does Ivanka work so hard? You saw as evidence in the New York Times piece last weekend by Maggie Haberman and her colleagues at the New York Times. they were able to detail in the story that there was a list of people that Ivanka and her folks wanted the New York Times to talk to. I think Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin was one of 5 names that they gave her. So I guess you can't consider the media the enemy of the people when you're handing them a list of people to call about how great you are.
Well, this is something that I encountered when I was writing my book about the first family and Ivanka in particular. They understand that there is a way to manipulate the narrative if you're working with people who are willing to be playing that game. And so when you have someone ask her a pointed question today, an up or down, is the media the enemy of the people? This is someone who's so media savvy, who I think is 37 years old, who will spend the rest of her life either in politics or in business, and she needs the media on her side. So for her to say, no, the media is not the enemy of the people, was just a savvy business decision, whether or not she believes it. And of course, she couched it in basically defending her father, saying that without saying, I'm defending my father, by saying, well, I can understand how certain people feel targeted and may feel that way. But she's been getting a little bit of credit today for coming out and disagreeing with her father, though I don't really feel like she disagreed. But I don't know that we should be giving credit to someone for just not being a lunatic, for saying something that's so obvious.
We here do not give points for not being a lunatic.
You don't get a high five for not spreading a conspiracy theory about people of the media. This is not a big disagreement for Ivanka Trump and her father. In fact, her father came out afterwards and basically clarified her statement. It's the same way that he calls her honey and baby, and says that, in relaying conversations with her, says that she calls him daddy. It's another way for him to demean her. But they have this good cop, bad cop demeanor, and I think we saw that playing out today.
Annie Carney, it was a startling sort of correction or clarification of his daughter's comments. Do you have any reporting that suggests that he was displeased with her not towing the family line that Sarah Huckabee Sanders, as a non-family staffer, had to tow today at her briefing?
Well, I don't think so, but he has expressed frustration with Ivanka in the past. He has expressed frustration in the past with Ivanka and Jared even being in the White House, saying, this was a bad idea. They should go back to New York. But the Sarah moment I found instructive, too, about the limits of what she can do there. The president was mad at how she dealt with the White House Correspondents' Dinner, wanted her to walk out, wanted her to personalize it. We saw her personalize the situation when she talked about the red hen, and I saw her, this was another classic audience of one performance in the briefing room, and she absolutely would not have gotten a correct. She was correct when she said this if she had made the same exact statement that Ivanka did. And again, I think it just underscores and highlights the strangeness of having family members sitting side by side, serving in the administration with regular staffers, and the limitations on one and not the other. I think the whole split screen between the two of them was very awkward internally today.
It was as much as you see women in the public space in any field, in politics or anywhere else, is heartening. These were not women that appeared to be, speaking their mind or standing up for anything that would distinguish them. I want to ask you about this moment in the intersection of the White House and the media, because I don't want to romanticize anything about the Bush years or the White House in which I served, but I think it's just a goalpost for what was normal, and what was normal was tension with the media. What was not normal was what went down in that briefing room today.
And that's a reality this evening. There is no point in this administration's history where the media has been spoken to or treated as though they are respected members of and protected members of a fourth estate here, a fourth branch of government. And today, I just feel like every single day the relationship further deteriorates, and we're going to a place where I don't know where we can come back from.
And Annie, Emily used the right word. It is the job of the White House when they travel with the American press corps, the White House press corps, to protect them when you go to other countries, and to advocate for their access, and to advocate for them to be in bilats or pool sprays. Is there any concern that the White House is on a path to stop that tradition?
I don't know about safety, but I think that the incident that happened in England on Trump's recent foreign trip, where he wouldn't call on CNN's Jim Acosta and created that scene, to do that on foreign soil is different from doing it here. It's setting an example on the world stage. I was on that trip, and the reaction from the British press was jaws on floors to see him treat the media that way abroad. So I do think that these norms are being shattered and that it's going in a bad direction in terms of the relationship and how they're treating us every day.
We stand with our friends in the British press with our jaws on the floor. Emily Jane Fox and Annie Carney, thank you so much for staying up. There's more 11th hour. Don't go anywhere. That's just ahead. We'll be right back.
There's a common thread I see every time I'm in the field.
While this is burning you, we're saving other homes.
Neighbors helping neighbors and strangers alike.
This is what America's about.
Sometimes it's nice to see all the good that's out there.
Bringing folks out, we have seen it in community after community.
Morning Joe speaks truth to power.
He is destroying the Republican Party for years to come.
With access to the people who matter. From the halls of Congress to the Oval Office. Morning Joe, weekdays 6 to 9 on MSNBC.
Traders, they're always looking for advantages. The smart ones look to Fidelity to find them. We give you research and data visualization to help identify potential opportunities, so you can do it this way, or get everything you need to help capture investment ideas and make smarter trading decisions with Fidelity for just $4.95 per online U.S. equity trade. Fidelity, open an account today.
Olay Regenerist wipes out the competition. Hydrating better than $100, $200, even $400 creams. With our B3 complex, beautiful skin doesn't have to cost a fortune. Olay.
Promote what makes your business great with Vistaprint. Whether it's a business card, a banner, or a postcard, we have the paper stocks, sizes, and design options to create marketing that's right for your business. Give it a try with 500 standard business cards starting at just $9.99 when you use code VP500 at Vistaprint.com.
Every time the mailman comes, you think this is BarkBox.
Get $40 worth of toys, treats, and shoes for as low as $21 a month. Subscribe today and save at BarkBox.com.
Managing my type 2 diabetes wasn't my top priority until I held her. I found my Traceba reason. Now I'm doing more to lower my A1C. I take Traceba once a day. Traceba controls blood sugar for 24 hours for powerful A1C reduction.
We'd been counting down to his retirement. It was our Traceba reason. He needs insulin to control his high blood sugar, and at his age, he's at greater risk for low blood sugar. Traceba releases slow and steady and works all day and night, like the body's insulin.
Traceba is a long-acting insulin used to control high blood sugar in adults with diabetes. Don't use Traceba to treat diabetic ketoacidosis, during episodes of low blood sugar, or if you are allergic to any of its ingredients. Don't share needles or insulin pens. Don't reuse needles. The most common side effect is low blood sugar, which may cause dizziness, sweating, confusion, and headache. Check your blood sugar. Low blood sugar can be serious and may be life-threatening. Injection site reactions may occur. Tell your prescriber about all medicines you take and all your medical conditions. Taking TZDs with insulins like Traceba may cause serious side effects like heart failure. Your insulin dose shouldn't be changed without asking your prescriber. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing, fast heartbeat, extreme drowsiness, swelling of your face, tongue, or throat, dizziness, or confusion.
I found my Traceba reason. Find yours.
Ask your healthcare provider about Traceba. Covered by most commercial health insurance and Medicare Part D plans.
That's our broadcast for tonight. You can catch me every day at 4 p.m. Eastern right here in this very studio. And Brian will be back here at this time tomorrow night. Thank you for being with us, and good night from NBC News headquarters in New York.
Need to recover the hostage. Insertion in 10 seconds. 5 seconds to insertion. Hostage location is unknown. Operation is still a go. Hostage located. Op 4 last stop standing. Hostage acquired. Move out. Secure the hostage. Hostage injured. Op 4 revive the hostage. Friendly, last operator standing. Check your fire. Hostage injured. Hostage was KIA. You need to keep the hostage secure. Fortify the room.
Take some trauma plates.
The hostage location is compromised. Get ready. 10 seconds. 5 seconds and counting. Op 4 has 20 on the hostage. Op 4, last operator standing. Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful. Need to find the hostage. Op 4 eliminated. Fortify the room. You need to keep the hostage secure.
Take some trauma plates.
Hostage location compromised. Op 4 has eyes on the hostage.
My evil eye ready to kill some strondos. Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful.
Thanks for watching. I'm going to start up Skyrim in a few minutes. Thank you. Be right back.